Vi har den amerikanska journalisten James O Keefe här i Sverige. James O Keefe, founder of the O Keefe Media Group, investigative journalist, the #1 fear in Washington and general exposer of bad guys. A very warm welcome to Sweden.
Great to be here.
Could you shortly explain for my audience, who are you? What is the O Keefe Media Group and who is James O Keefe?
Well, I'm a citizen journalist. I've been exposing people behaving badly, doing things that they are ashamed of, doing things that they don't want to be known, and I've been reporting on that for close to 20 years, ever since college. I'm the founder of something called Project Veritas, making society more ethical and transparent, usually through hidden camera journalism. And our work has led to resignations and laws being changed and defunding government programs, exposing corruption, and now, in modern day, there's a kind of a renaissance of citizen journalism in the United States. And I'm here in your country to take a look at what's happening in the immigration system and walk down the street and see what I see.
There's plenty going on there. But I Googled your name and I saw that one of the leading liberal newspaper in Sweden, it's called Dagens Nyheter. They like the poor man version of the New York Times. They once wrote that you're a controversial right-wing populist and a horrible person. That's what they all say. How do you see yourself? Are you being a right-wing guy? Is this a political thing you're trying to do? Or what is the mission?
No, it's not really a political mission to clean up society and make it more ethical and transparent. I mean, I guess throughout my life, people have branded that a right-wing endeavor. I don't see it that way. And I think right now in the United States, what is left and right? It's kind of hard to know what the difference is between, liberal and conservative. And as I sit here right now, many of the so-called right-wingers are very angry about the Epstein files. So that's an example of an issue that seems to be appealing to everybody. But no, this is a mission to clean up society through exposure. And I believe that exposure is actually the only recourse we have left at accountability. When it seems as though a nation of laws has broken down and there is no more equal justice under the law. So exposure is the only recourse.
Because you have done plenty of notable exposures. One thing was that you infiltrated the editorial board of CNN.
Yeah.
CNN is a news outlet that a lot of Swedish major news network use as their only source to try to explain what's happening in American politics right now. They never wanted to report on the Hunter Biden laptop case. That's some of the things you could expose with your journalism. How would you say with these mainstream media outlets in America, such as CNN, are they trustworthy when it comes to give a picture of what's going on in the United States?
Well, we did some reporting into CNN a few years ago, and one of the guys said that fear sells, that we want more people to die in COVID so the numbers can go up. So he's saying things that are pretty true universally in media. Just the idea of ratings governs media, not ethics. These are things that the CNN people we recorded. Another guy said death sells. We got access to Jeff Zucker, who was at that time the head of CNN. His phone calls, we recorded all of his calls. And they're talking about, trying to get Trump. These are things that are not surprising, but confirmed our suspicions at CNN. But I think very few people watch CNN. I mean, it was like 500,000 people out of a country of 400 million. So it's not that it's very well watched. It's just that the people in power tend to watch it, and they kind of set the agenda. But I think these organizations are losing their power. And I think the work done by citizen journalists in the field, it really is more exciting and more appealing to see the truth for yourself than to just regurgitate some government and corporate talking points.
But one thing that is very impressive with the work you are doing and other citizen journalists in the United States is that you get tremendous. You have these enormously large media corporations, and then you have the citizen journalists such as yourself. You had Nick Shirley exposing the massive fraud going on with the Somali community in Minnesota. How is it possible that the small actors such as you, are able to get this far ahead of the competition? We're talking about multi-billion-dollar companies, media companies, and is it that they don't care about exposing this truth, or are they complacent? What are the reasons behind your success to be able to have this?
I think it's economics. I think it's a function of what an organization can do or believes it could do, there's a lot of liability associated with doing the type of work that we do and that Nick Shirley does. When your work leads to programs being shut down or people getting fired or money being taken away, there tends to be lawsuits as a result of that, and companies don't want to get sued. And you saw this type of journalism fall out of favor about 40 years ago in the 1980s and the 1990s, you know, with Mike Wallace at 60 Minutes and Diane Sawyer at Primetime Live. They used to do this sort of hidden camera thing. The newspapers did it in the 70s and the 60s. Muckraking was a thing back then. It is no longer a thing because it's the cost associated with doing this work and the investigative expense. And also, I think a lot of these mainstream organizations like CNN and the Washington Post, which your Swedish organization cited my sting of the Washington Post, they take information from sources that are presumed credible. It reduces investigative expense. Noam Chomsky wrote about this in Manufacturing Consent. So when you build a relationship with these people in the deep state, in the administrative state, you trust them and you publish whatever they tell you. Well, that's not really what an investigative reporter is supposed to do. You're supposed to challenge them. You're supposed to publish the information they don't want you to see. So the only way for you to do that is to be truly independent, to be a maverick. I would even say to be an individual. And if you get too big or if you become too much of an established institution, it kind of runs contrary to the whole paradigm of doing that type of activity.
And recently, you've been investigating the Antifa. There were riots in Minnesota, especially after 2 shootings where ICE officers shot demonstrators. And we have seen this extremely organized, autonomous, violent leftist environments. What's going on there?
Well, we were in Minnesota. I know you saw that video. And we did get some hidden camera admissions on what the groups they were working with. I've never even heard of some of these nonprofit groups like Road to New York. There's another one that I have heard of, International Socialist Group. But what I found was, quite unlike the Antifa in Rose City that we saw 5 years ago in Oregon. And I do feel like they hit the pause button in the George Floyd riots in 2020. And then Minnesota, they hit play again. It just picked up right from where it left off. It's getting worse. And what I saw was a bunch of white nurses and teachers and union people and frankly, a lot of women. And frankly, a lot of Scandinavian women, because Minnesota, there are a lot of Swedish and Norwegian and German people there. And they actually seem to be extremely organized. That was what struck me, is just how organized they were, and they had people on every street corner. They had people in the rental car agencies, people in the hotels spotting. So that type of organization, yeah, it does require infrastructure. It requires money, but I also think they're true believers. They believe in their cause, and it was truly terrifying to see, their violence, their agitation. The cops left the city. I'd never quite seen anything like that in all of my years.
And it even went that far that part of your team was receiving death threats, that you had 1 hour to leave. What happened there, and how has the response been from other media outlets and the police after you get...
Well, Elon Musk, who's one of the most powerful media people in the world, because X is the biggest, he posted the death threat against me. So it was my driver of my SUV is known to be my security. It's public information. It's on Google. So they scanned the license plate, found his name, it was a rental car, and then said, James O'Keefe, they sent a text message, you have 1 hour to leave Minneapolis or we will kill you. So we sent this to the FBI, and some people in the FBI called me and they're trying to figure out who sent the message, but it was sent from a burner phone.
And as a final question, you're doing this journalism, you're doing this citizen journalism and been exposing a lot. How do you see the future of media with organizations such as yours, the O Keefe Media Group? Do you see that there's a viable future in this, that this is going to become the new normal when it comes to journalism, or what's your take on that?
I think the future is individuals doing this, not organizations. the future is a loosely knit group of people not working, so they're not working for me and I'm not working for them, but we're working in tandem, and we are perhaps looking at the same issue and we're talking to each other. And perhaps in the same way these agitators are. They're so organized, but journalistically, I think it's important for citizen journalists to work together. I'm going out with one today here in Sweden. That type of activity where we're collaborating, but we're not technically employed for the same organization, because I found this at Project Veritas. The problem becomes, again, the risks are so high and the dangers are so high that once you start getting people in a collective, and it changes the dynamics. So the future are individuals that do it loosely tied, focused on the same goal. I think that's the future of citizen journalism.
And lastly, do you have any suggestions to give to people that want to do what you are doing? Do you have any suggestions, people that are feeling perhaps afraid of being branded an extremist or a right-wing nutcase or something like that? What's your advice for them?
You have to decide what it is that you value. A lot of people message me and they almost regret that they can't do it, or they want to know how. My advice is always, you actually do know how to do this. Everyone knows how to hold up a phone. I know you know how to do that because you take pictures of me all the time. I know you know how to hold up a phone. It's not, I don't know how to do it. It's, you have to decide what it is that you value. And if you value your safety and your ordinary life, if you don't want to rock the boat, if that's what you value, then you're not going to do this. And it's not for everybody. But some people value justice and they value truth. And I think you have to have certain core values, core meaning you have to be resilient. You have to be resilient and indefatigable. You can't fatigue. You have to be fearless. You have to be unbreakable. You have to be ethical. You have to have these values inside of you while also deciding what it is that you cherish. And I think if you're one of those people, then you do it. If you're not, then you need to financially support the people who do it. You need to, like you have people that financially support you. I have people that financially support me. So that's a perfectly viable way of helping. But if you're one of the people that has the core values, and then maybe you have an obligation, a responsibility to go out there and do this.
Thank you so much for answering my questions. James O'Keefe from the O'Keefe Media Group.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching Riks.